The park we're in is really nice, but being nice means that it attracts an awful lot of people. I don't think that a space here is open for more than a few hours before it's filled again. The bad thing about being stuck here in the summer is the heat and dealing with health issues. But the good is that we get the opportunity to fix whatever issues arise with the rig. Chris is definitely staying on top of it.
Well, now to the brass tacks. We're back to our Thetford Aquamatic. You see, last week we had to replace a leaky flush ball seal. However, we tested it when we were done just to make sure that everything was working properly, and it did. But we found that the water inlet valve was leaking every time we'd flush. Shelley ordered the parts, and they were in 2 days. We settled into our new park, and I studied up on YouTube videos on the easiest way to do the fix. I did notice that they all got conspicuously vague when it came to the reassembly of the flush mechanism and arm. I call it the cassette. Everything else is really straightforward. So let's dive in. No pun intended. Well, maybe a little. First, shut the water off and drain the toilet. Easy for us since we've added a shutoff valve to the incoming water line at the back of the toilet. Then just depress the flush arm. Drained and ready to go. With the water off, pop the flush arm, that foot pedal, off. Most folks make it too difficult and just remove the toilet from the floor. I guess if you don't have the room to work on it, it's what you have to do the repair. For us, just grab the arm in the middle near the bump, its pivot point, and give it a quick smack with your other hand near the foot pad, like you're trying to knock it off. You want to control the arm to move straight away from the pedestal and not to cant radically. This is that background noise that you were hearing.
With any luck, hopefully we'll get to travel again someday.
There's a stiff spring under load in there, and you don't want to have to retension it. You can, but it's a pain. Just use a larger pair of vice grips. What's funny is the Thetford instructions tell you to just grab and pull sharply. Didn't work for me. Once it's off, there's a fitting near the back of where the arm goes that has a cam that fits into the arm and regulates the water on and off. That cassette is what we want to replace. See the leak? Now, this is what's vague in most of the videos that I watched. See the plastic part that looks like the silhouette of a hot air balloon on its side? That's what holds the spring and seal in. Every video I've watched says to take it off by pulling the narrow part on the right slightly away from the pedestal and rotate the cassette to the left counterclockwise. Then you clean and lube the area with silicone grease, the new gaskets, the seal, and the itty-bitty seal spring, as well as the articulating surface points. Then reverse what you did to take it off, putting it back on. For some reason, I did it by rotating it to the right, clockwise, and it came off real easy. The water you see was being held in the tube where the small spring and seal sits. There is an O-ring on that shaft to prevent any immediate leaks if the seal fails, hence the water behind it. Grizz is such a great help. Just clean it up with a towel and use something to clean out the shaft. I use paper towels, being sure not to leave any parts of the paper behind. To get the itty-bitty spring and seal out, I found that a long, narrow screwdriver worked really well. Note the cassette, that's, like I said, what I call it, goes together and apart in a specific way. Use the old one for an example when assembling the new one. It took me a couple of tries. Got my new little seal and spring lubed and assembled them by putting the tapered end of the spring into the seal, just like the old one, and the fat part goes into the hole first. Like I said, keep the old parts nearby assembled so you can reference how they go in. That seal was the source of our leak. I lubed anything that looked like it might benefit from it. To put the seal and spring combo back in place, I used the same long narrow screwdriver and reversed how I took it out. I had to use a second flathead to slide it off the small one because it's a ways back in. Put the end of that little screwdriver in the hole in the back, then slide the seal and spring combo off into the hole. Here comes that frustrating part. Remembering the videos I'd watched, I prepared to reassemble the cassette by placing it in the opening and aligning the little claw wings to the corresponding ones on the outside of that tube. With the narrow portion of the outer cassette up like those on the videos, then engage by depressing in while turning clockwise to lock it into place. This part wasn't having any of that. Only accomplishing and getting really frustrated. I paused, went back to YouTube, and sure enough, that's what it showed. But there seemed to be a few jump cuts there, making me think that they had a similar problem. Then it just magically went together. That was no help. I tried looking at it from a different perspective. You know, lying down, see if I could get a little more muscle on it. Then a very dim light bulb, maybe 1.5 watt, lit over my head. What if I tried it from below the locking post? Couldn't hurt, because this sure wasn't working. So I lined things, the wings on the cassette with those on the pipe, and made sure that the cam arm on the valve part was in the proper place. Pressed inward, felt the gasket, the O-ring, seat. Used even pressure around the cassette and gently lifted the narrow end, and it easily locked into place. I think I muttered something under my breath like, they were wrong. Next, if you're looking at the big spring, to the left is a small cam arm. Rotate that clockwise or up as far as it goes. Don't force it. It's the flush ball valve. Then the cam arm you just fixed, the water inlet valve, rotate counterclockwise as far as it goes. Again, don't force it. Get your flush arm and look at the back side. There's some tiny raised lettering and an arrow that says spring. And there are 2 oblong cutouts at each end that correspond to the 2 cams. Slide the center pivot over the spring post. Make sure the end of the spring goes into the little area that says spring. Push inward while aligning one cam, and then the other by rocking the arm up and down ever so slightly. All the time holding pressure inward towards the pedestal. Once you're sure they're all lined up, take your other hand and give the arm a sharp wrap near that bump on the outside. You'll hear a snap as it seats. Articulate the arm to see if it works. Look in the bowl to see that the ball valve works. Turn on the water and make sure there are no leaks. Work the arm again. No leaks. Toilet fills. Then you did it. Clean up your tools and go relax. Once again, I stumbled through another repair. I'm hoping that this will be it for a little while. We'll see. Once again, to our patrons, thank you for supporting this channel. Never in our wildest dreams did we think that folks would help this channel as much as you have. It means so much. Also, if anyone out there likes our choices in music that we've been using, we have to use vendors that allow no copyright music for use in our videos. For us, at the moment, that would be Epidemic Sound. We've made a playlist of some of our favorite tunes. Some we can use and others we'd like to use someday. Other vendors. That playlist is available for your enjoyment on Spotify. You can sign up for Spotify's free version. It just means that there's going to be occasional commercials. Once you have that free account, or even a paid one, go to it and search for Our License to Travel playlist. There's about 5 hours of great music there. We hope we get to see you again next week, right here on OLT. Please, travel safe.